why you're voting this election? We're asking people their number one issue. You guys want to share? Yes, no? I figure there's no. No? Okay, no problem. Hi, ladies. We're asking people their number one issue this election season. Do you guys want to share?
What's your name?
My name's Pearl.
No thanks.
What is your number one issue this election season?
Really reproductive rights and medical rights for people.
Human rights overall, being able to make a choice for your own body.
Women's reproductive rights and freedoms is probably one of the biggest issues for me this election cycle.
Women's rights and the Medicare and the health.
Women's rights.
Women's rights?
Yes, women's rights.
For my son and women's rights.
Overturning Roe v. Wade. Abortion.
Reproductive rights and climate change.
Preserving our democracy.
Absolutely, democracy is the number one issue this election.
The truth, facts. I don't feel we're getting from Donald.
To elect a decent human being. Kamala's one, Trump isn't.
So what policy are you looking to have changed?
None. Just elect a decent human being.
Democracy.
My number one issue is the climate. The Harris campaign's doing the most.
Trans rights and queer rights, protections, recognition of non-binary humans.
What about you?
Reproductive rights are important to me.
Number one issue you're voting on this election season?
I love Kamala Harris. She's going to be our first woman president. I love how she loves people.
She's the best qualified for the job. I mean, that's pretty easy to see, especially when you see who isn't.
Saving American democracy. I don't like fascism.
What makes you think that we're headed in the direction of fascism?
I mean, literally everything Donald Trump and J.D. Vance says is heading in the direction of fascism. I am a woman. I deserve rights. Okay. Just like anybody else.
Abortion is the critical determinant.
Definitely women's rights, and I've been knocking a lot of doors, and that seems to be the consensus.
We need to have the people that are being represented and representing us, not representing the 3% of the United States. If we are middle class, then let's represent all of us and not just the 3%.
Well, she wants to treat Americans equally, and she wants the working class to not be taxed and the top 1% to pay their fair share.
Is there like a specific law that she's going to pass to do that, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that she said anything specific. I mean, I just watched her on CNN last night.
Women's rights in regards to like abortion rights.
Women's rights.
We really need to work on equality in the United States, and women's issue is up there with that too.
Having a choice. And not government dictating health care.
Women's reproductive rights, I believe that is the most important thing because a woman should be able to choose what she wants to do with her body.
I keep hearing about reproductive rights and women's issues. I'm curious, is Kamala going to do anything for men's issues?
I'm not sure.
Well, what are you going to ask me?
So I'm asking people what their number one issue is this election season. It's an easy one, don't worry.
No, it's not an easy one because I have lots of them.
I mean, you can give more than one, but if you...
For one thing, climate change.
Okay.
If we don't watch what we're doing, we're going to destroy this earth for the future. I'm a scientist, strongly believe in it. I believe in women's reproductive rights, even though I am older.
To have something better than what we are being given right now.
Women's rights.
I think we need a woman just for change is one thing. There's so many different reasons, but obviously as a mother, she should have rights that I had.
I would say stop the chaos and reproductive rights.
I keep hearing about reproductive rights and women's rights to choose. I was curious if there's any policies that are going to be passed for men.
That would be great. How about DNA means daddy pays?
Picking someone that has character and morale, and so I cannot go along with anybody that can call people names and be so derogatory to the human race. That's why I'm so much for Kamala.
Because she's voting for women, and women's rights are really important.
Trump not being in office, simple as fact, he should not be running.
I prefer Harris.
Mine is democracy. Save democracy, vote Democrat.
Save our country. Democracy.
Get rid of Trump and get access to abortion.
I just want my children to be able to live in a place where without being discriminated by the color of their skin and where they're coming from.
Country over party.
What does that mean specifically?
It means let's save democracy and let's continue to look at what does democracy really mean. Because if the other candidate is elected, we will be going to an autocracy and we're going to have a real problem.
1776, I guess, but the right way, not the wrong way.
What does that mean?
No kings.
Oh, you're saying that there'll be like a king.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't want no kings
We fought against kings
I keep hearing that today. How is there going to be a king?
because the Supreme Court said he could do whatever he wants, so there's nothing to stop him. That's like a king. Do you remember back when they had kings? King George?
Yeah, I just don't know. When did the Supreme Court say he could do whatever he wanted?
Wow. And you're a reporter?
But I totally am against them abolishing Roe versus Wade and men dictating what women do with their bodies.
So I've heard a lot about women's issues today, like abortion, equal pay, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, I've done interviews at different political events, and I've never heard anyone talk about men's issues. Do you think that men's issues are important?
Men in America run America, and it's been that way. It's patriarchal. White, Anglo-Saxon.
Your number one issue that you're voting on this election season?
Oh, she's our hope. I have hope. That's what it's about. That's it for me. I believe that she's going to be for us.
Do you have a specific issue, though, that you're voting on? I know there's hope, but like a specific issue? Is it abortion, immigration?
Abortion and immigration.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're looking for Harris to provide clean water and environmental protections. Go Harris.
Why are you voting for Harris?
What do you think?
What?
KAMALA. I'm a cat lady.
Do you have a specific issue you're voting on?
Keep our freedoms. Reproductive. I'm on Social Security because I'm retired. I want to keep Medicare. How long have you got?
When did they say that specifically?
Just a little bit ago. Specifically. Yeah, they said.
So that word for word.
Pretty much.
So I want to know what your number one issue is this oh my gosh. I've had that answer so many times. What is your number one issue this election season?
Honesty, truth, sincerity.
Sorry, specifically like what policy?
I think our economics, everybody says they're not good. I believe they are good.
The answer I've gotten a lot is we want reproductive rights, abortion. I haven't heard anything about men's rights at all. And I'm curious if she's going to do anything for any men's issues.
That is a very good question. But reproductive rights, definitely a huge, huge issue.
My number one issue is making sure that my daughter has more rights, or at least the same amount of rights that I had when I was younger and in reproductive age.
I have 3 daughters, and they need the protection that was taken away.
I'm voting for Harris because we want decency back into our government and self-respect for this country.
I would say mine is the environment.
Women's health.
Freedom of rights, to maintain our rights and to not have them taken away from us. That's the main thing for me.
Honesty and decency, policy.
And what specific policies are you guys looking to either have changed or stay the same? Like what policies are you looking to change?
Women's rights, number one. I think choice is a huge.
I've heard a lot about reproductive rights today and women's rights, and I was curious if you guys had any thoughts on if Harris is going to make the country better for men and how she would do that.
I don't have any specific examples, but I guess I would venture to say that men with their wives trying to have children and being able to follow through with IVF and to do things like that.
I want Trump gone. I don't want Trump to win. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. And I'm not independent. But we are human beings, okay? And by being human, he don't act human. Trump do not act human to me. So I want him gone. And I'm here to support her 100%. Do you hear that? Did you get that?
To me, the number one thing this election season is that Project 2025 does not get implemented. We'll lose NOAA, we'll lose the Department of Education. Trump will become a dictator because that's part of Project 2025. And if someone hasn't read the highlights and they're voting for Trump, they should read the highlights of Project 2025.
I'm voting for Kamala Harris for all the obvious reasons. But what I really think is important is we should acknowledge the Republicans who have decided to place country over party and who might not agree with policies of Kamala Harris and are yet moving toward to vote for her.
I'm a lifelong Republican, but Trump is the biggest reason I'm voting for Harris.
What policies did you not like of Trump?
Well, it's very difficult to say which policies I didn't like because it's hard to understand what his policies actually are.
I just want government to stay out of our medical decisions, especially for women.
What policies are you hoping that she passes in order to get equality?
There's so many, I don't know where to begin, to be honest with you. It's almost everything.
Better benefits for veterans and for the I just got retirement.
I would like to see that we trying to finish doing something about the borders, and I think that Kamala has a really good plan.
Oh my gosh, I don't think there's a number one. Reproductive rights is one, but also I just want things to calm down and have some civility, some intelligence. That's what I'm looking for. I'm just so tired of just all the anger and the hostility and the meanness that's been happening.
Let me give some more of my opinion. I want Trump gone, okay? And I want Kamala Harris to win, okay? And Walz, okay? And I'm here for them, okay?
Donald Trump is the reason I'm voting for Harris. I was in the military, ex-veteran, and this is why a lot of men died for Democratic Republic country, and we're not going to have one if he wins.
What specific policy do you want to see changed?
Hatred, envy, jealousy, malice, and I think she kind of represents a lot of love from her heart, and whatever people was holding against her from way back when, I believe that they need to just realize people make mistakes. We all do, we all have, but we change.
But what policy would you like to see?
The policies is to change. Well, her policies is to come together and save the democracy.
Child care for our young families. I would love to see some sort of law passed that would require companies that say have over 5,000 employees to provide subsidized child care for their workers.
I am excited about abortion being available to people again. Democrats don't say you can't have an abortion or you can. They're saying everyone gets to make their own choice.
Well, the policy, the right for the reproduction.
Reproductive rights?
Reproductive right, that gotta change. It should not be what it is right now. The border should be fixed, that's for sure, but I think...
Then wouldn't you go Trump if you wanted the border?
No, I know Kamala will fix that. Okay. Trump is the reason why the border was bad, because he refused to approve the, he told the Democrats not to approve what Kamala, what they put together initially to improve the border.
Is there a specific policy you'd like to see changed?
Term limits should be on politicians all the way up to the Supreme Court.
No, there isn't. I just would like to see what she plans, and I think she's getting a lot more open with that, and so I'm appreciative of that.
And to think that if I was still in service yet, that I might be asked to turn against my fellow Americans for a person's political gain, I'm really troubled by that.
I'm just having trouble understanding what specific policy you're talking about.
It's not a policy, it's comments that have been made about using the American military to fight against his enemies, inside of America here, his political rivals, just the comments that he's made about that. And it's just like, that's not why I joined the military, to fight against, someone in my own country who disagrees with me.
I stand up for education and Medicare, like for all.
I guess right now my attention is at the immigration policies. I think immigration is not only a big topic, but I think it really does change not only the economy, but like families. I guess everything about it really does matter.
So I know it will be better. The border will be changed. The border will be fixed. We don't need Donald Trump to fix it. Kamala can fix it better.
This is the problem these days. It's no wonder you see testosterone levels of men declining 1% a year. The average testosterone levels are half of what they were 50 years ago. This is one of the foundational physiological reasons why society's crumbling and in the state that it's in. These women are getting away with murder, and there is a simp epidemic. Testosterone levels are so low, and something needs to be done about it. Chalk is on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity. You're more capable of taking risks and making decisions. Having high testosterone will also affect your pheromones, so women will find you more attractive subconsciously. Get the Chalk Male Vitality Stack on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Chalk provides the highest quality herbal supplements clinically studied to boost your testosterone. Their tongue cat is wild harvested from the Malaysian rainforest and is studied in double-blind human trials to boost free testosterone levels 87% in 21 days. Use my name, Pearl, as your coupon code, and you'll get 25% off site-wide on chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Coupon code Pearl. Boost your testosterone naturally, supercharge your masculinity, and don't be a simp. Do you guys think that men's issues are important?
I think everybody's issues are important.
The reason I ask is just because I've heard a lot about reproductive rights today, and there's a low male turnout. So what would you see be the incentive for men to vote for Harris?
I definitely think that as professional women, to have a strong man, they always say that behind every strong man, there's a strong woman. Well, behind KAMALA, there's a strong man to support her and get her going. And so her being the first lady with the first gentleman, that just shows that women can be everything, but so can men. We don't have to put a man in a box, and it gives them liberty to really express themselves how every other man in this country can as well.
But I'm asking, what specific policies, because there are men's issues, right? There's for example, paternity fraud is a men's issue where men are raising kids that aren't theirs. Things like that, what policies would be appealing to men?
I'm married, and my husband, he's voting for Harris. He kind of votes. He considers himself independent. He voted for Trump last time, and he's voting for Harris this time. And I think for him, it's about, as my friend said, having decency in the White House. But specifically, he's a parent. So as a guy with kids, he's concerned that we send our kids to school every day and we don't know if they're safe or not. We have a daughter who is gay, so making sure that everyone can love who they want to love, doesn't matter what gender you are or what your preference is. So I think that that's a man's issue and a woman's issue.
But I'm asking specifically issues that just affect men. And I don't think either side's really doing it, but for example, we always hear breast cancer awareness but I've just never heard anything that's for men.
Just for men?
Just for men, nothing to do with women.
But see, I guess I don't see reproductive rights being just for women either.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good question because most women's rights only come secondary to men's rights. Men tend to have their rights by default. Women have to scavenge for what they can scrape up. And in this case, nobody is challenging the rights of men and their reproductive choices.
I hear issues that specifically are for women, and I've just never heard that for men. So
because men aren't under attack, women are.
Sure, they're important, but people are taking care of that. That's not under assault. What can't they do?
So I'll give you 3 issues. Okay. So one is that men are more likely to be to commit suicide. They're more likely to have workplace deaths.
Yeah.
And they're also more likely to be victims of a violent crime.
Okay.
But I've never heard politicians on either side address that.
I would have to look at where that's coming from, but crime is down in the last 4 years. So violent crime is down. Mm-hmm. So to me, Democrats are better on that issue.
I think when you talk about women's rights, women's health, for many of the issues, there is a man involved. And so when you talk about all of those things, it helps make our families stronger, our economy stronger, and it helps make relationships stronger.
What I'm trying to get at is I hear policies that specifically benefit women, like a woman's right to choose. I would say that's a woman's issue. But I never hear policies that are specifically men's issues. So an example of an issue that only affects men is paternity fraud. That's something that millions of men are paying child support on kids that they don't know aren't theirs every year. Or male suicide is higher than female suicide. But I've never heard either politician vie for those votes.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, but while those issues are serious issues for a lot of people, they wouldn't be high on my list.
Okay. I don't know that they would be particularly high on my issue either.
I feel that men already have enough rights, so let's concentrate more on helping women to make the same amount as men.
I know I don't really have anything. I mean, I think being a man, especially a white man, you don't really need anything. You pretty much have everything given to us on a platter, it seems.
Really? I disagree, because you guys commit suicide at the highest rate. I think men have it pretty tough.
Maybe getting rid of some of the toxic masculinity and allowing men to just be who they are, no matter what kind of man you consider yourself to be.
They started this country.
So a lot of people may not know, but white men are the most likely to commit suicide, the most likely to have workplace deaths, be victims of a violent crime. But I've never heard politicians address any of these issues on either side.
It's hard. It's hard for young men. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them to do well and to make money because, you know, America's all about capitalism and making money and getting ahead, and I think some young men suffer from that.
So like you're pulling me on the woman card here. Okay. So I think about, you know, we need jobs, we need education. We're looking at the ability to go to school, the ability to buy a home, the ability to just have the American dream. This is for everybody. This isn't just a male or a female issue. So I think that's for everybody. So when we try to draw the line, you asked me like one thing. That really got my goat when something got shifted so far away. Things I fought for when I was a teenager. That now that I'm older are just gone. And I didn't think that could ever happen in this country. So that's why it's an issue for me, because I watch how quickly, if we don't pay attention, how things can just go away. So that's why I mentioned that.
I mean, patriarchy, like, yes, I feel like it's been run by men. I think not only, like, yes, they care about men, but it's like things have been run by men for so long. I think whether people choose to actually pay attention to this issue, I think they'll be more informed. And I feel like, yes, the government or, like, I guess policy should also represent men and healthcare issues, mental health issues, whether it's like just focusing on men and women. I feel like the attention to just mental health should be brought up, like whether it's for men, for women. I think mental health matters for everyone. Right. So I feel like this specific topic, mental health, it should be addressed for everyone. Even though stats are like men commit more suicide, men are more likely to not seek help. Like these are true like stats.
So the reason men's voter turnout is much lower than women, and I would hypothesize maybe that's one of the reasons why.
Do you think mental health is the reason why, or why do you?
No, I think that it's because neither cares about men's issues.
You know what? So what do you think?
I'd like to see paternity fraud be criminally prosecuted.
Let's go. Sorry, good report.
This conversation was.
I know.
Go ahead. It's okay. No problem.
It's good. No, I actually want to know, like, aside from like the interview, I actually want to know what you think.
Men's mental health. I think there's a lot of scholarships and opportunities specifically for women. I don't see that for men. You know, I just don't think it's fair that we have all these like programs for us and there's none for men. I had a cousin that had a really hard time getting access to see his kid. So there's issues that specifically affect men, but I never hear the right or the left talk about it.
I just think it's an issue in general. Yeah. I don't think like it's aside from the left or the right. I think mental health is just an issue, period, not really politics. Like to me, at least, if you're asking me, I think mental health should be taken a lot more seriously. Like not even like politics, like just in general. Like yes, there should be more access for men. Like there is access.
But so whenever I say that, they always try to make it for everybody. It's never just about men. But have a good rally. Have a good one. And what do you think of Donald Trump?
I hate to talk bad about people, but he seems downright evil.
He's out of touch.
Okay.
He doesn't speak for the common voter. He seems disconnected and acting bizarre. I mean, Walt said it right. They're weird. He's not talking the issues. I don't think that, a businessman from Manhattan who's been a trust fund kid his whole life, regardless of him being a business guy, I don't think he represents the majority of Americans. There's 300 million people in the United States, and he's not speaking like as if he's representing 300 million people.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to the future of this country. He's the only president who has stated that he would basically deny our democracy, wreck our democracy, and who tried to do so on January 6th. No matter what policies presidential candidates have, there can be nothing worse than destroying the democracy, which allows us all to participate through different administrations and different votes.
Donald Trump in jail, don't get me started.
I could never vote for him in a million years. I'd die before I did.
Trump's full of hatred and cruelty. Trump is a Epstein pedophile Nazi traitor to the country. He tried to insurrect and overthrow the government. My dad was in World War II in the Navy. His brother drove a major around Europe. He was in Dachau the day after it was liberated. Now we got Nazis walking in the streets parading in the streets. We got one running for president. I don't think so, not in this country. We're going to have 8 years of Kamala Harris, followed by 8 years of President Walz.
He's not very clear about his policies. He's more about grievance and fear and division, and he really hasn't put forward any reasonable policies. All of the policies he's been putting forward now, like all of these supposed tax cuts he's going to be making, his tariff program, they don't make any sense. I mean, all they're going to do is put us farther in debt. There's no way to pay for any of these things, and he's very vague on details.
I think she stands up for the right thing and is working with all of the people. It would upset me more to see someone like Trump get in and set a setup where young people would believe that if I cheat and lie and bully people and assault people that I can become the most powerful person in the world. That upsets me. Why would that be acceptable? And Kamala is trying to work with everyday people and get them in the right place at the right time and work with you and give you some support. So that's why I'm here.
Very tired of him, and I wish he would just go away.
Don't like him. I think he's dangerous.
We need to dump him. I don't know. I think there's a prison for him.
The only party left that has any hopes of doing any of that is the Democratic Party. They're not perfect by far. There's a lot of corporate control over the Dems. There's corruption just as bad, almost as bad with the Republicans. But the main thing now is we have to stop Trump because he's a complete disaster. All you have to do is watch on TV. Anyone who supports him is just pretending. He's a wrestling clown. He's a professional wrestling clown. That's his whole gig. I do. I think they're all... I think there's about
people to be pretending.
I think 30% of the 40% of people that are going to vote for Trump, I think 30% of them are just wannabe hangers-on because they don't know what to think. I think the 3%, the real hardcores, the Stephen Millers, the Steve Bannons, these peoples are real Nazis. They want to march anybody who's different into they want to build their FEMA camps, they want to march them into the gas chambers, and the rest of the people are victims just like we are of all of this propaganda and ideology and hatred that they're trying to force on this country. And you know what? It's not 1939, it's not Germany, it's 2024, this is America. Harris and Walz are going to win. We're going to have 16 years of Democratic administration.
Why do you think men have lower voter turnout than women?
I don't know.
You know what's wild? You know how many people over there really think they're going to be in a dictatorship if Trump's president?
Oh my God. I love this girl.
They really think it. I swear to God. It's crazy. But yeah. So I've been doing interviews asking people all day why they're voting for Harris. Number one, I actually thought abortion would be the number one issue. Actually wasn't. But the number one issue they have is they really think that Trump is going to be a dictator if he wins. Why do they think that? They get offended when I ask. I'm like, well, why would he be a dictator?
You know, one time he made a joke about that. Woo! One time he made a joke about
Trump!
And that's all he said. And it was funny because he's got a sense of humor and they have no sense of humor. It was right along with, for one day, he was going to like start sending people like he was going to be a dictator one day, and then he was going to drill, baby, drill. That's when he said that. Drill, baby, drill. He's going to make our America take it back to where we were.
And the other question I have, what is up with, what was the other one? The democracy? What else do we get a lot today?
Oh, he's going to take democracy away?
Yeah, they think he's going to, why do they think that? Is it the same thing, the dictator comment?
No, well, one, they put on him everything that they are doing. If you think about it, oh, he's a liar, he's weird, whatever. They're a liar, they're weird. Yeah. It's all the things that come back on what they're doing. She wasn't even democracy when it goes that far. Democratically, they did not put her in. They just dropped her in. She wasn't voted on. There was nothing
oh yeah, I should have said that.
You know, it's kind of, sorry, I can't use it. But no, but as far as when it comes to democracy, they're not doing it. They're not following their own rules. And, you know, he's not going to take our guns away. She's already said, buyback. You know, they're going to take our guns. There's not free speech. They have done politically, they have challenged him all the way up. So when they're like, oh, we're going to be put in jail, they tried to put him in jail. So I'm like, what?
What is it with our gender and wanting to kill our kids so bad? Like, what is it?
I don't know.
Can we just ask, is it that hard to get birth control?
Isn't it free everywhere?
That's it. Like, can't you get an IUD and you're good? Why are they fighting for abortion so bad? Just lock it up.
You know, well, that's what
abstinence an option, but I know they won't. Like, they're not going to do that. So go get you an IUD. You're good. We're voting on this.
And that is what it comes down to. It. I have talked to so many people because I have knocked on doors, and literally they go, "Well, it's just an abortion thing. My girlfriend might get an abortion." Well, then, can you not take a little bit of care and not have that happen?
What is it? They march for this.
I know.
I'm like,
let's kill babies. Now that's something to be proud about. Sorry,
I get
I'm so against that. But yes, there are exceptions to every rule. I get it. But that's the one thing they keep saying over and over. Oh, Trump is going to put a national ban. That's a lie. He just pushed it to the states. That's where it should be. If you don't like your state, move. But when it comes to all this education, I'm a retired school that I taught in because I would have never tried to confuse the genders of children or shown them pornography in elementary school. That's wrong too. Yeah, has he changed the Republican Party? Absolutely. Woo! Back to where it was. I mean, the Republicans have always been more in the middle, and then all of a sudden you've got these lefties that took it way far away. And even the Democrats, there's a lot of Democrats that have come over to the Republican side because the Democratic Party moved away.
Right.
We just want, food that's sensibly priced so we can feed our families. We want gas that's not out of the roof. We need to be drilling oil here. That is the silly
drill,
thing.
baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. I'm telling you, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
We have got to be energy efficient.
Right.
Because all their Green New Deal stuff, I'm sorry, but nothing happens without the petroleum side.
Right.
So they can't do it.
Do you think that men that vote for Harris are beta?
Did you see that commercial?
No, I didn't.
The commercial was hysterical. Do you know they were all actors?
Obviously.
It's just like, oh my goodness, who would vote for her?
So why are you voting for Trump?
I love Trump. I love everything about him. I think his sense of humor is good. He is hilarious. They always say, would you like to have dinner with him or have a beer or whatever? Yeah, I would love to have dinner with Trump. I think he's the ultimate. He's funny. And plus, I want some guy, I love his personality, but I tell people, if you don't like the personality, vote policy. I love his policies. And I want somebody with a big stick at the door of America.
Do you think women should vote?
I'm going to answer that with yes. And I think Christians should vote. I'm a little disappointed with my Christian brothers and sisters because they need to get out there and vote.
So I have a question. If it required us to be drafted again, would you give up your right to vote?
So if we're...
Yeah, so if there was a war and they said you have to go be drafted just like the men, because that's why we weren't allowed to vote, was because it came with the draft. Tomorrow they said you have the choice. You can go fight in the war just like the men, like there's World War III tomorrow, or give up your right to vote. What would you do?
I guess I'd have to fight.
You'd fight? I would give it up.
No.
I'm giving it up.
The only voice you really have.
What about my husband's? You know what I mean? He can vote.
I have 3 daughters, so that tells you what.
Yeah.
There's so many people who have died for this country.
Yeah.
And we respect them, and that's a respectful job.
They don't want us in the front lines, I don't think.
We weren't supposed to be on the front line.
Yeah.
They need men, real men.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying though? It's like it's like women are going to decide this election when we pay the minority the taxes and do the minority of the work. I don't think that's fair. I don't know how to make it more fair at this point, but I'm like, I always wonder why do we have an equal set? Like it has to be net taxpayers or something, because there's too many people that are just living off the system voting that have of course they're going to keep voting for free stuff.
But isn't Trump trying to make that, he's trying to do a flat tax. Republicans have tried to do flat taxes in the past.
Good luck.
I know. Well, and you talk to so many people, if they get money from the government, then they're going to vote, but that's still imprisonment.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in prison to the government. Yeah. I'd rather work myself to the bone and still have my dignity instead of have someone just handing me food stamps.
Have you talked to any Kamala or Harris supporters today? Have you actually sat down with them, talked to them?
I've got a few friends.
Yeah. No, I meant today here.
No, because we just walked over here, but I would love to. I'm sure they don't want to talk to us. We would love to talk to them.
Yeah.
I would talk Trump all day.
Okay, well, you've been great. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you very much. God,
where do I find you?
JustPearlyThings.
JustPearlyThings.
Yeah, my name's Pearl. JustPearlyThings.
I'm Deanne.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
JustPearlyThings.
Keep fighting the good fight.